Over to the U.S. now, the House of Representatives voted this week to repeal internet privacy regulations, sending a resolution that has already cleared the Senate to be signed into law by President Donald Trump. The regulations being wiped were designed to give consumers more control over how internet service providers view and sell personal data from consumers. Joining me now with the details, here's Boom Bust correspondent Manuel Rapalo.
Yes, now in the hands of President Trump, cleared the House and Senate. Members of the House of Representatives voted 215 to 205 on a bill that will effectively block internet privacy rules put in place by the Federal Communications Commission last year from taking effect. Echoing concerns from internet privacy groups and their colleagues in the U.S. Senate, House Democrats took aim at Republican lawmakers, calling the legislation an anti-privacy effort. Invoking a law called the Congressional Review Act, Republican lawmakers have passed legislation to roll back regulations on internet privacy. Republicans called the FCC privacy rules a handicap on economic growth, adding that the privacy regulations are simply unnecessary.
The FCC already has authority to enforce privacy obligations of broadband service providers on a case-by-case basis. These broadband privacy rules are unnecessary and are just another example of big government overreach.
The internet privacy rules put in place by the FCC in 2016 were designed to protect the personal information of internet users, giving consumers more control over how internet service providers collect and sell their personal data. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi referred to the effort by Republicans as a surrender of Americans' privacy.
This is staggering. This is almost a surrender. If the Republicans are allowed to do this, we have surrendered all thoughts of privacy for the American people. It is a value that the American people treasure. It's about their dignity. It's about their dignity. We cannot allow the Republicans to sell the dignity of the American people.
House Democrats rallied in an attempt to preserve the FCC's rules, adding that rolling back regulations goes against the wishes of a majority of American consumers.
This resolution is a result of an explicit written request from Washington lobbyists. These lobbyists make the bogus claim that having actual protections will confuse consumers, and the only way to help clear up this information is to have no rules at all. No consumer has come forward to support this position.
Passage of the resolution means the bill now goes to the desk of President Trump. The White House website added in a statement that the administration strongly supports passage of the resolution. Privacy rights groups, however, still hope that the president might reconsider. The American Civil Liberties Union added in a press release that, quote, President Trump now has the opportunity to veto this resolution and show he's not just a president for CEOs, but for all Americans. Trump should use his power to protect everyone's right to privacy. Tuesday's vote in the House of Representatives has drawn widespread condemnation by privacy groups, and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi has called on internet service providers to state their positions on the repeal of internet privacy regulations. Lindsay?
You know, we've talked about the debate about this over the last 5 to 10 years, net neutrality, internet privacy regulations. What's the bottom line here? I mean, what does this vote actually change for consumers in a noticeable way? Yeah,
well, that's the irony of the thing. The rules by the FCC that were put in place last year haven't actually had a chance to take effect. So that resolution that passed the House and Senate that was designed to block those rules from taking effect, the Republicans essentially have gotten their way. So when we ask what changes now with this new law, effectively, nothing changes. It's a continuation of what we had before. But what if the rules had stayed in place? Under the FCC guidelines, internet service providers, so Comcast, Verizon, AT&T, they would have a federal mandate to require customers or internet users explicit consent before using their personal information for the purpose of advertisement. So what type of information are we talking about? We're talking about we're talking about location data, so GPS tracking, your browsing history. We're talking about financial information, your healthcare information. We're actually also talking about the content of your email communications. We're talking about the most personal aspects of a person's life that exists in the digital realm. So with that resolution that passed this week, which invokes the Congressional Review Act, which we talked a little bit about last week after this left the Senate, the Congressional Review Act is essentially a law that gives the Congress fast track of the legislative process so that they can roll back on regulations. It's only ever been used one time before under the Bush administration. In the last 3 months since President Trump has taken office, it's been used on three separate occasions. And now that this has cleared the House and Senate, it goes before President Trump for signature, and that could be any minute now, given that the White House already said in the immediate aftermath of that vote in the House of Representatives on Tuesday that the White House fully supports, the administration fully supports passage of this resolution. So, you know, if you cared about your internet privacy regulations, if you were heralding that as a victory, just forget that ever happened.
Let's just forget that was ever gonna happen. Okay, Big Brother's out there, he's there to stay. You know what? You know what my solution is, Manny?
What's that?
Straight up analog.
Just go
You
off
go
the grid?
paper, you can't hack
Fold
a pencil and a pad.
Go
You
back
can't
to
hack
what we
this.
did in middle school and high school and just pass notes this way.
Yeah,
That's how you do
exactly.
it.
Just banking everything. Just go paper, people. You heard it right here. Thank you very much, Food Bus correspondent
Thanks.
Manuel Rapalo.